Well, Ralph, let me ask you this. What drives your passion for helping businesses grow and scale thoughtfully? Where's that passion come from?
What could be more fun, Jack? I mean, I explained earlier in my career, right? The whole concept of using technology for business sake.
Yeah.
When you start to take a look at it and you take a look at, I'll do some name dropping now, right? I remember when we sold Rothy's shoes, which is a very high end shoe and now luxury brand. I think we sold them 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And I remember negotiating that deal in a hotel room. In the first, I think the first year was $141,000. They were coming off of QuickBooks and spreadsheets and things like that. Well, we put them on SAP Business by Design, really became their trusted advisor because they were experiencing such explosive growth that they wanted to rely on us in the expertise that we had and had built by helping Harry's Razors do the same thing. So we had some of our senior consulting team in there on a regular basis, kind of helping guide some of the decisions, leveraging our relationship with SAP to get some advanced thought leadership, on retail and on consumer products. And it's great to watch these companies grow. I mean, they're now, onwards to $1 billion organization. We recently had a huge investment and actually are now have outgrown by design, and we've helped them onto the large SAP platform because that's the right thing for them. But when you look at it, it helps us, we become kind of their trusted advisor and become a customer for life. And in that, you develop some great relationships, and it's just a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It can be a challenging business at times, but there's something, it's certainly extremely rewarding when you can contribute to a healthy, vibrant, sustainable organization.
Yeah, and that's really, our passion for life sciences is born out of that, Jack.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we have customers that are treating rare diseases in children, curing cancer, producing vaccines for underserved communities. I mean, it's remarkable, some of the work that's being done by these companies. And frankly, it makes our team extremely satisfied to be able to participate in those types of projects.
Absolutely. Well, Ralph, I'm going to put you on the spot, but can you maybe think of a specific success story of a company, maybe give another example that you helped scale through, the SAP solutions? Just briefly, give us a good example.
Yeah, I think probably, Rothy's is a great example, but I would say probably the next best one would be a company called TriRx Pharmaceutical Services. This is a company that is a CDMO, contract drug manufacturing organization. And they started in 2019. What they tend to do is take over either abandoned facilities from large pharma, or they kind of buy carve-outs from large pharma, underutilized plants. And so they started in 2019 with 12 employees in Huntsville, Alabama. And they had a number of people that came from large pharma and knew what the SAP solution could do for them. They also knew that they couldn't pay $1 million or more for the solution and couldn't spend years getting it implemented. What we did was went in with SAP Business by Design, got them up and running, meaning they were doing CRM, sales orders, inventory, production in a 12-week period of time. By the way, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That was at breakneck speed, right? But that was all in adopting best practices. Okay, we'll take what's out of the box. And you know what? Today, they are running 5 plants, 3 countries, have over 1,000 users on the system. And that's not the end of their scaling story. So they're very successful. They operate in the UK, France, the US, have plants again in 5 different plants in those countries, and are a huge success story for us. And frankly, one of our biggest cheerleaders.
Oh, that's super. Great story, Ralph. It's just so fun to hear those stories and successes like that. And Ralph, before I let you go here, I have 3 more questions I'd like to ask you, but I appreciate your time.
Sure.
What do you have to say about customization? Just in general, do you have a rule of thumb there? What should organizations consider? And then maybe just in the context of SAP products, what does that look like? But just generally, what's your thoughts on customization?
Well, customization is not actually a 4-letter word. And I say that in sales presentations, right? But what we need to do is make sure that what's in the box doesn't work as efficiently as you need to, right? The customization needs to have a material impact on the business process. And it needs to either streamline it or it needs to significantly enhance it in a way that couldn't possibly be done any other way. That being said, there's a new mantra in the market called keep the core clean, clean core, meaning that you don't ever really want to customize the core application. You want to perhaps extend that with side by side, meaning that maybe it's process automation that you need to apply for a customization. If you need to do in app customization, you want to keep that as light as possible, meaning keep the core process it is as structured in the original way as possible, using whatever technology is offered. And most of them, frankly, today, Jack, will have software development kits that allow you to develop in a layer outside the actual core of the application.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to keep it as far away from the core as possible, as light as possible, and make sure that there's an ROI on it. You don't never want to do a customization just because, hey, this is the way it used to work. Anytime somebody says, we need to do this because we've been doing it that way for 10 years, I usually have a fairly impassioned discussion with them.
Ralph, what do you say? So as you mentioned, I mean, the ERP market, that space is pretty competitive, right?
It is.
And the reason I asked you about differentiators earlier in our conversation is because that's a pretty important question. And that's something we get into in quite a bit of depth when we go through our ERP selection processes. And, not every ERP system is the best fit, for an organization for a variety of reasons. But what advice do you have for private equity firms or their portfolio companies when it comes to selecting ERP solutions?
I would really take a look at the industries, right? So portcos are usually going to be of a similar industry, right? And there are going to be some solutions that are better for some industries than others. So I would look for track history in the industry. Beyond that, I would say that, and I hope my SAP friends aren't listening, most ERPs will do the job these days. What you want to do is you want to take a look at what the future of that particular solution looks like. And most importantly, you want to take a look at the partner or systems integrator, as we're oftentimes called, and understand their expertise in the industry and the fit of their expertise to the customer that's evaluating the software.
So, Ralph, let me ask you this. You just mentioned understand, quote, the future of a specific solution. So when it comes to emerging technologies and AI, do you have any thoughts or anything you can say about the future of SAP products? Is there any one thing that's exciting that you're kind of seeing in the not in the marketplace in general, but with SAP specifically in terms of emerging technologies?
Yeah, I would say that, as you look at SAP today, they're vastly different than they were 2 years ago. The emergence of BTP, Business Technology Platform, is going to be the real differentiator for them, in my mind. We've adopted it. We now have a BTP practice because we see that the capability to innovate with that solution, whether it be through integrations, robotic process automation, whether it be through advanced analytics, machine learning, all of those things are really becoming consumable now through the BTP for the lower end of the mid-market. And so I think their ability to leverage their learnings and the technology that they've been offering to the big guys and making it more consumable through the BTP for, I'm not going to call it the little guys, right, but for the small to mid-sized guys, is going to be a huge differentiator for them going forward. As it relates to AI, I was just at Sapphire, which is their largest user conference down in Orlando. And they made the announcement that there's AI is going to be introduced into every one of their products. And so as you take a look at the possibility of AI, what I always refer to as the possibilities. What are the possibilities that you can accomplish? Well, it's really pretty significant when it comes to a SaaS offering. When you could go ahead and ask for an AI for assistance on, hey, I'm having trouble with this transaction. How do I get through that? Or what's the best way to do that? Or, show me, the customers who are having, descending order frequency. or increasing order frequency, or the margin on a customer, et cetera. The possibilities are endless, and I think that SAP's embracing of the AI is going to make a difference. So BTP and AI, robotic process automation, machine learning, all those things now that once you get out of the kind of the utility room of the ERP, that's where all the innovation is going to come in, and how you leverage that innovation in enhancing the ERP is going to be what the real secret is. And I think SAP has a huge jump start on that.
Absolutely. And, Ralph, one of the things that I'm very interested in, right, ERP organizational change, that's what we call it, ERP implementation,
right,
is very much a triad, right? It's the relationship between people or the organizational culture, the processes, and the technology. And just looking back throughout history, and if you were to study ERP systems, we've come a long way since the mid 90s or so. And one of the things that's fascinating for me, it's a fascinating topic, is again, it's that dynamic relationship between those three key pieces, right? This is a high level in terms of successful ERP organizational change. But the idea of AI, I think that's going to have a profound effect on ERP organizational change in general. And, we're going to talk more about that, but it's really a very interesting, very fascinating topic as far as where the technology is going to go in terms of it adding value to the business environment.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Jack. I think that, I've been doing a lot of listening to podcasts, and I've been doing some research on my own, and, downloaded ChatGPT on my phone. And, I think that if you're not at least evaluating it, playing with it, understanding what I'll call the possibilities, you're going to do yourself a disservice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well said. And, there's going to be, pros and cons, even at the organizational level as it's implemented and rolled out. But yeah, the example you gave where you just ask the question and maybe just verbally, you're going to have a personal assistant sitting at your desk and you just ask a question and it will go in and fix the problem and figure out exactly where the transactions are, where the issues are and where the variances cause from. And I think it's just going to take it to a whole new level. So it's quite fascinating.